lovely apothecary Mao Mao has done the unthinkable, I guess, at the time for them at least, and really has risen up to these rumors and expectations in which were placed on her, healing the lady who they expected basically to die at this point. And we had a pretty solid episode for the most part there, which leads us now into some burns and some things happening to these guys. I don't know if it was related directly to the powder that's been very consistent throughout all these episodes so far, or if it was something else. They seemed like they were throwing something in the fire or being around the fire in some sort of way, so I'm not positive, I guess, as to what it's exactly going to be. But we're going to end up seeing what happened to this poor guy, and hopefully we're able to cure him or solve him or something. Well, I do think it'll be fun to see the consequences or the things that might happen, and the results of, I guess, just maybe a failure on Mama's part, or a, I wouldn't necessarily say failure, inability, I guess, to be able to cure something, like get to a point where she can't do anything. Well, burns and things on hands and poisons and stuff typically are things that can possibly be cured. I would be just interested to see the route that they would place, or they would take, if somebody like the Emperor or something got wind of what exactly was happening, and she not being able to do, I guess, the things they expect her to, and really live up to that, and then see if they force any consequences or if they look down upon her or anything. And I would love to see something along those lines, but I really don't think so. It's just a wishful thinking, I guess, on my part, for where they might head. If you like it all, like and subscribe to me, like to feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave any comments with this episode or series. This is a Toho show. It's gonna get blocked at some point soon. So if you would like to still react, and it's been a couple weeks, or watch, and it's been a couple weeks, just check the description or the comments. There's probably a link in there for you to continue to check these out. Let's get going though. Episode 5. In like an old-fashioned, like natured show, I guess, here, like historical setting in a way. This is like as fan servicey as I feel like you can get when you take the girl who's like Bow Wow in a way and kind of force her to dress up and put makeup on her and really make her like look beautiful, which I think is literally what we got here. So it's a treat for the eyes and for everybody else involved, which is great. And that's basically a lot of what happened here. While it's pretty simplistic and straightforward, we get, I guess, a little bit of focus or thought can be put into the idea of the challenges and things that I guess women, especially at this time, would have to have gone through, and the things that really would end up coming up, such as Mama having to reveal to us here that her freckles are fake. The thought did actually go through my mind. It's one of those things where, like, I think it and then I don't say it because I'm like, that's stupid. Like that wouldn't make sense. And then it happens, and then you're like, fuck, I wish I said it, right? Because now I have nothing to like really back it up, and it just sounds like I'm just saying things to seem like I know what's going on. But the thought did go through my mind that they weren't real, but I couldn't like immediately come to a conclusion as to why she would do it. But my immediate conclusion, I guess, was to seem less desirable. But for me, that's a good trait. Like, and I like that. That's what I really liked about her design, is like how unique and different it was. We had the freckles, we had the green hair, we had like a whole bunch of different things. Her personality, everything about her was different than a lot of typical things, or the typical way that you see people. And that's why I've really was drawn to her character and her design, which, I don't know, I guess especially at this time it would be seen very different. And also I guess I can kind of see why it's not as like clean or pure in a way, as maybe people would desire or would like. So making herself like that and marking herself in some sort of way to make herself less desirable to others, I think could definitely play a role or would make sense. And I actually definitely get that. But I do wish that I said it beforehand. But we do get to see the extent that she has to go through in order to do this and to avoid, these people going around and trying to kidnap you and sell you or take you or claim you or whatever, that you have to worry about in these moments. It's very unfortunate, especially for somebody on the outside. The others and the girls that she kind of works with here and she lives with, is them, it's different because they don't understand that they are desirable, beautiful women, right? They're not in that sort of position where they would do that, and they've probably been brought up and taught their entire life that their main goal here is to be kind of like selected or taken by somebody else, or whatever the situation would be for them, to the point that them it just comes as natural and it seems that way. But for a viewer or somebody on the outside, or Mau somebody who comes from the outside, can full on see like this is not like a good thing. Not everybody wants this, or people want to avoid this, or whatever the case is, and all the the real like shitty things that kind of can go on, and to kind of secure herself or make herself feel a little bit better and be more cautious about these situations, has to take on an approach to kind of protect herself, which is a very sad thing, I guess, to really think about, that she can't just kind of be natural and be herself, and she has to go to these extremes and these other levels and be able to do that for protection of herself. The other thing I would claim would be a little bit presented, but not really, is Jinshi and his position, his role. We've seen multiple times where he like seems to be setting things up in a way where he ends up keeping a close eye on Mao, of course, because of his interest that we would assume in her. But unless there's a further interest and there's a reason why he's really taking a liking to her, besides some sort of romantic attraction in some sort of way, and I guess her usefulness, but he's using her almost as like a piece here, a toy, as it's been described before, and he's kind of forcing her into these situations, or forcing these situations and these things to appear and come to her, and then he's taking action on it from there, such as we have something here with like this rash that happens before, and now we're looking for the markings and stuff that have happened on other people's arms. I'm assuming they're not burns in those situations either, which I initially thought was for the hands, and he's looking for those markings as well, in case if there's other rashes and things of people trying to hide them, or possibly people who were experimenting with this and these things that ultimately could have been led to what ended up harming a lot of these other people, and we're trying to get down to whoever this person is and find them at the end of the day. But what exactly his role is there still leaves me wondering. I've talked about this, I don't remember which one, episode 2 or 3, I think I talked about one of those, about how I'm really intrigued, or they've done a good job, at least for me, building him up without building him up, like without actually being explicitly like stating exactly what his role is or what he does or why he's doing the things that he is, and he doesn't actually claim that or say that, and none of the characters are really asking him, which gets me like, can somebody please start questioning him, because I really want to know what his relationship is, why he is in the position that he is, and what exactly it is that he's doing to, or why he's exactly doing the things that he's doing to protect all these people and to kind of better their living situations, I guess, in their society themselves. I'm curious, and I would assume he would have a closer relation than we'd initially, I guess, been led to believe with the Emperor, possibly related in some sort of way, and if not, I got no idea, but I'm assuming he has a close relation in that sort of situation. The opening sequence is fun too, with the Jinshi fighting and being able to see that. This is something I always think goes unnoticed because of the type of clothing and everything that they wear. It goes unnoticed, the I guess physical build, I guess, that a lot of these guys kind of build up, and the training and everything that they have to go through, like probably the heavy lifting and a whole bunch of the stuff that they end up going through, that of course causes them to gain such like great builds, and I never really think about that, so it looks like really out of place, especially in a show where everybody is fully clothed, and there's not a lot of things like this happening, or you being able to see this, which I think is funny. I like their talk here, or at least him like realizing that Mao has extra sides to her and things that he's never really been able to see, and kind of probably realizing at this moment he maybe had not actually know enough about her or know anything about her, or what he thinks that he understood about her, right? Because he doesn't actually know. This sequence is the best thing in the entire thing. The entire show, her just a general excitement from being able to jump back and forth and find mushrooms, or possibly just other things that she can use here, and things that are very interesting to her, right? Just actually seeing the general joy that she gets out of this, I think, is fantastic. Like, how can you beat this? Like, look at her. How can you beat that? And then being able to have our fun here with our friend, which is great as well, talking about the idea of using the stimulant potion and stuff, and it's happened with somebody else. I'm assuming that this whole situation was to bring up the idea that Jinshi probably gave it to somebody else and then it caused it to happen, but if it was directly involving him, I don't particularly know why or who or anything, but I don't know if that's actually too much importance to be placed on that. I really like the relationship with our quack doctor here and being able to make this work. Also, it's interesting to know that she has 6 of them here and that they only each have 1, I believe, and then at the end she talked about how she's gonna have to go look for more for Jinshi instead, so she can just probably play it off in that situation like, I didn't end up finding any, so she doesn't have to prepare anything for him, which I think is just great, because there clearly seems to be plenty extra here. But I love their their relationship that they're being able to build up here, them both enjoying the same things and having so much fun, and one of them being able to learn something through the other, which I think is great. But he appears, he gives us the entire story of what ended up happening. We figure out that the wood is burning, and then the salt and stuff is causing the changes of color and all that. The significance and stuff of that, I'm assuming, is just that not many, besides actually literally nobody besides Mao Mao, fully understands why this is a thing or how that this actually can happen. So it's pretty impressive for us to really be able to test and see her knowledge on this. But the actual importance of that, I don't know, and I don't know if it is there or if it's just behind the idea of who was specifically placing this wood that would cause something like this to happen. Clearly trying to do something from the inside, or clearly trying to throw things away, like in these moments, that it's going to cause harm to others. Whether their general idea here was to give people rashes, or was it to cause them to be in fear and possibly understand that they may be cursed, or whatever the situation was, there's definitely somebody out there who's causing these exact things to happen. And it seems as though Jinshi's kind of onto that, and he's trying to figure out exactly who or why, what their intentions of all that is, which is the big concern that he ends up having later when we see him talking about the hoping that nothing really happens during this party that they're actually having in this gathering, which we end up seeing. It seems like that's likely going to end up being the case, but I'm just curious to see the direction, I guess, that gets taken. Being able to start dressing Mao Mao up here at this point, I think, is fantastic. We also get a look at the other four here, or all four, as two of them had a tendon before, but the other two were pregnant, so they were unable to last time. This is the first like big real gathering that we've actually had in a long while, which is really fun. I just love how out of place, like for whatever reason, Mao Mao just feels out of place in this. Maybe it's because hers was different colored and everything than the others here. I guess they're all different colored, but it's just like entirely different. It's a bit more bright and lacks like the orange or whatever, the redness that the others seem to have. And hers is more of like a pink, which I don't know. It's great though, regardless. I love this bit of this girl just getting so fired up in this moment. And that's really fun as well. Her trying to create a whole bunch of other things here for the bladder and for, you know, warmth and everything else, I think is great. And then gets forced in the endless cycle of having to constantly help others and do these things. And it's also fun just seeing the what do they call it, like the seamstress or whoever come in and not knowing what to do, because it's the same situation that happened with the doctors before. You bring in this person from the outside and all of a sudden they have this knowledge that literally nobody else does. Where have they obtained this that literally nobody else can, and they're this smart? It would lead me to believe more so that Mao Mao is just incredibly smart, rather than these other people just being like really dumb or something. It would just be these things that they've probably been locked in here for so long, and they've been unable to kind of experiment and do these things on the outside world. I mean, we saw in the first episode how fucking crazy that she can be, where she's causing these things to happen to her specifically, like she was doing these tests on her arm, right, just so that she can try and like cure herself or fix these things. Like she gets a joy out of doing this. So the fact that she knows all these different like tips and tricks and like these little fun things that she can do, I think is great. I love capturing Mao Mao here and forcing her to put on the makeup. This is where we first get the first little glimpse into the idea of the freckles being possibly fake. And then Jinshi goes on his run, and he has to kind of greet everybody here, ultimately being led to see Mao Mao and not knowing who the fuck she is for a moment, until she talks and getting caught off guard completely because she looks fucking great. I have to get this for the thumbnail. Hold on. Thumbnail acquired. All right. And now we move a bit more, and then we get to see the entire conversation that she actually has been using makeup and things before, specifically to cause all the stuff that I've talked about a little bit earlier to not happen. This is where he ends up giving her this hairpin, and then she kind of doesn't seem to understand the significance of this. It's also just fun to, I guess, note that she brings so much outside knowledge that none of them on the inside seem to really even have, even the people who are supposed to excel at like these certain professions and stuff. But when it comes to things like this and traditions and stuff that probably come from the inside, she has no clue what any of them mean. And while they don't explicitly state it, I think it's pretty obvious that it's probably something where Jinshi's claiming her in a way, or he's doing something in a way to, one, you know, be selfishly like claiming her for himself, but two, also just to protect her from possibly being targeted by some other person or by the emperor herself or whoever else it might be. And this is like a act of protection in a way, because if they do anything to harm this kind of person, they know for a fact that you're going to end up dragging like a war into this by having somebody of higher authority or higher ability in a way that we saw him trading and stuff at the beginning. So we know he's plenty capable to come out and actually target you. And that's probably something that you don't want, and a person that you don't want to mess with. So he's probably doing a excellent thing here, I would argue. Things get set up perfectly when it appears somebody behind the scenes is doing something to mess with us. Whether that is attempting to specifically do things to cause like these infections or these rashes or whatever that they were saying, whether it's like a continuation of that or it's just the same person that is bringing up a new plan of something that they're going to do here. If you're in a situation like this, you don't have the ability to target people like physically, I guess, by doing things, and the only thing that I can think of in this situation is because Mao Mao's here as poison tester is to poison her. I think that that's like the, or maybe not poison her because targeting her, what sense would that make? But it would be to target others, and they're probably unaware of her specific ability here or her specific role here, and it causes one of the others to end up getting poisoned, or at least that was the initial thought. But with her here, she's able to kind of test this, and she'll probably be immune and resistant to this, to the point that we end up saving the lives of somebody else because she ends up figuring that out. That would be my assumption as to where this goes, just because it would make the most sense. Because what other way would you be able to target somebody, especially when you're acting behind the scenes and trying to do something at an event like this with all these guards people and whoever else might be here, right? If you're solely acting yourself, it doesn't seem like it's going to work. Also, just by the hair, I mean, I could be wrong because all the guys on this seem to have long hair as well, but just by like the curl and everything, and it makes me feel like this is a girl character, so why they're acting out in the way that they are is weird to me. It could just be, no, I got nothing. I don't have anything, but I'm interested to see. And that's kind of where they will end things. We'll end up seeing where this heads further from here. I liked it quite a bit once again, and it's really fun. All more Mao Mao moments are always great, and especially her and Jinchi having, you know, these special moments and sharing these things is always fun. Very excited to see where we head to next. If you liked it, I'll like and subscribe to me. Launch me. Feel free to check out their videos and channel. Let me guns with this episode of series. I will be back for what's next, episode 6. You guys have a good one. Peace.